The UK is one of the freest countries in the world for lesbian and gay citizens. It has one of the most LGBT-friendly armies, and there are now 32 LGBT MPs in Parliament, a world record. But despite being a leader in gay rights on the world stage, the UK has performed notoriously bad for years when it comes to helping LGBT asylum seekers. Many are in a state of limbo, often waiting for years to win their case.
We're not looking at it in a humanity way of it. We're not feeling a little bit of the pains that these individuals are going through.
They could be deported at short notice and sent back to countries where homosexuality is punishable by law. Some people have gone as far as providing sexually explicit videos to convince the Home Office that they're gay.
I lived on £5 a day. I had a choice of going to a gay club and making sure people, take pictures to prove my sexuality, or having food that I bought that day. At some point I actually resorted to picking food out of the garbage.
They're hardly given any information and face bizarre and humiliating questions. With a toxic mix of stereotypes and ignorance corrupting our asylum system, what is it like to apply for sexual asylum in this country? And what kind of people are being turned away?
It's hard, you have to find your own path here. Because you can't work whatever you want, you can't do whatever you want, you can't study whatever you want, you can't be what you want to be. It's hard.
Homosexuality is illegal in at least 78 countries, and in 5 of these, you can even die for being gay. Last year, Prime Minister David Cameron announced that the UK will resettle LGBT refugees as part of its initiative to take in 20,000 asylum seekers in the next 5 years. In Swindon, 24-year-old Shrouk Al-Attar has been through the process herself. She arrived with her family to the UK in 2007, fleeing 15 years of violence in Egypt. She was granted asylum 6 years later after her family were unexpectedly deported. This is Shrouk. At 16, she came out as a lesbian, expressing her sexuality openly on Arab social media, hoping her family wouldn't find out. But when her sister read her blog post and told her mum, she was forced to leave home and advised to claim sexual asylum. Shrouk hopes to be an engineer and is currently taking Japanese lessons to pursue her dreams of working in the nanotechnology industry. But navigating the asylum system has been a challenge for her, starting with the questions she had to answer about her sexuality.
İçka, programming o bankyörstémas net. Very hot. How hot? How many degrees?
I was 17 when I started being asked these questions. There were questions like, what kind of toys do you use in bed? Who's the top, and really graphic descriptions that I had to give. I had to ask my ex-girlfriends, my current partners, to write really demeaning things or come and witness in court about things a British person don't have to, because you don't have to prove your sexuality if you already live somewhere safe, I suppose. And I think it pushes people so much into, even if you're not into that clubbing lifestyle or something, it pushes you into doing that. Even if you don't want to have sex at 17, you have to, because that's how you show that's your sexuality.
And Shrouk is not the only one who has experienced this. Dr. Claire Bennett is one of the leading researchers on LGBT asylum seekers and the kind of questions they get asked. And whilst she was unable to comment on camera, she did say this. She interviewed 12 lesbians from conservative countries like Saudi Arabia, Uganda and Jamaica and revealed the bizarre questions they were asked, which included: why have you not attended a pride march? Have you ever read Oscar Wilde? And do you use sex toys? To legally apply for asylum in the UK, you have to do it under the 1951 Refugee Convention, which doesn't explicitly recognise sexuality within the definition of a refugee. So many cases can take years. The UK Lesbian and Gay Immigration Group revealed that in 2010, a shocking 98% of LGBT asylum claims were rejected, compared to just 73% of general asylum claims. Shrouk says that changing the lawyer assigned to her was the best decision she ever made, because not all of them are educated on LGBT issues. After being let down by several people, she met a grassroots support group that got her a new lawyer who was able to help her. But most asylum seekers stick with their assigned legal representation, and they can find themselves in sticky situations.
Some of the representation I've had was absolutely excellent, and some really needed a lot of education about LGBT plus issues. But perhaps the most striking was not some of the representation, some of the judgment made by people who apparently are LGBT plus trained, but you wouldn't think it, not in a million years.
Although homosexuality is not explicitly illegal in Egypt, if Shrouk were to go back, she believes she would end up homeless, jobless, abused, and at worst, she could die. And there are many others like her who feel that going back is not an option, but they find themselves detained at immigration centres with almost no time to prepare their case. For Shrouk, being gay in Egypt meant being a sinner, but she feels the UK asylum system has treated her like she is just as guilty.
The very first time I was introduced to the concept of homosexuality was actually in religious class. So in Egypt you get divided during RE lesson, religion lessons, into Muslim and Christians. And in Islamic class they talked about Qawm Lut, which is a similar story to, I can't remember what's the Bible version, Gomorrah. Yeah, my teacher was talking about how horrible these people are because they sleep with people of the same sex, and I was there thinking, is this me? No, this is not me. It can't be me because I'm a nice person, you know. And that just made me completely repress that.
But what are the consequences of being denied asylum? 65 miles to the north of Swindon, the LGBT community in Birmingham have an ally to help them cope with the high amounts of pressure they face. Here, in Piers Road, Mazyar Sherali, also known as Mani, runs the Persian LGBT Advisory. He's originally from Iran, but now spends his weekends helping LGBT asylum seekers from all around the world.
Listen, I contacted for your HC2 certificate, okay, and they said that will be issued within a week or 2 weeks. I don't know what was the reason. Okay, that's good. So it's progress. That's excellent. That's very good. I'm really glad to hear that.
Many of Mani's clients arrived in the UK with severe depression. Some of them have even changed the way they look and behave in the hope that it might help their claim for asylum.
They lead a double life for 22, 23 years, and it is very difficult for them to suddenly, within 2-3 months, now they want to be extremely open, and they want to kind of, they want them to be extremely open and go all over, performing a gay lifestyle. They get this impression as they have to dress as women, and which actually affect their mental, because when they come to me, they said Mani, that's not me, that's not my character, but I have to force myself to do it in order to get the better understanding. But obviously there are ways for these individuals to get the better understanding of what is the gay lifestyle is, or what is the LGBT community is. And one of them is just be yourself. My response be, you don't have to wear the dress that you don't want to. You don't have to light your hair. You don't have to wear makeup. You don't have to act, the way that you don't want it to be. Just be yourself, and that's a gay lifestyle.
Most asylum seekers don't know much about the services that are available to them, so Manny, with his partner Makinda, give them advice on how to access health services, go to court hearings with them, and even give them condoms. But Manny and his clients have also been faced with ignorance and hostility. Manny remembers a particular time when a GP receptionist wasn't cooperating.
She was asking for a passport of an asylum seeker. She was saying that that these individuals, no matter he or she is alone living in this country, that must bring an interpreter. Whereas all these health centers and GPs, they have obligations to provide the interpreters for people that non-speak English, and she was insisting that no, we don't provide the interpreters, and that was completely out of order, you know. I was really surprised about basically what she says, you know, about in terms of, and she was expecting the asylum seekers to prove income or some other documents that the individuals, you know, they weren't able to bring. And when I was explaining to her, she was still insisting, but unfortunately we had to lodge the complaint, and thanks to local authorities, they actually take actions on that. Yep.
But the pressure of proving your sexuality can be too much for some people. An asylum seeker in Bristol that Manny was helping faced deportation, but rather than go home, he set fire to himself. But still, Manny is frequently asked to provide testimony in court confirming his client's sexuality.
When I go there and sit in courts, that the questions comes up like, you know, how do I confirm, or how do I know about the person's sexuality? And it looks like if they're actually expecting me to have or had some sort of examination or maybe a sexual relationship with these individuals in order for me to identify their sexualities. And it's very outrageous, and it makes me really angry that people are questioning other people's sexuality so easily, you know.
So, what is it really like to live in a country that openly discriminates against you because of your sexuality? Lebanon is one of the more westernized Arab countries, but the LGBT community here is fighting for equality against a 73-year-old piece of legislation. Since 1943, Article 534 of the Lebanese Legal Code has prohibited sexual relations that contradict the laws of nature. This article is used to prosecute gay people and even sentence them to jail. These are the conditions that asylum seekers in the UK are running away from. This is Sasha. She's trendy, and by any definition she's normal, but life for this Lebanese girl is at best difficult because Sasha is transgender.
As trans, we don't have rights. I can't work. I can't, like, if I want to go and apply my CV or whatever, they say, like, what's your gender? I don't put my gender because I have problems with my papers. They say, like, what's your gender? Well, I don't have your gender. And I'm like, I'm trans. They say, sorry, you can't work here.
Up until 2010, the Home Office would sometimes refuse asylum if they considered that behaving discreetly could keep you safe in your country. And although Sasha is safer in Lebanon than in other places, she could face unannounced club raids, forced anal exams, and physical harassment because being LGBT is still a big taboo. Sasha has been on hormone replacement for over 6 months but can't afford sex reassignment surgery yet. And without the support of her family, things are much harder.
My relationship with my mom was okay at the beginning, but then, like, she said, like, no, I gave birth to a boy and not to a girl to be. You shouldn't be like this. You should be like more like your brother. Look at him. He has his work, he has his job and life and whatever. My brother used to hit me when I was, like, until the age of 18, actually 19. And he, like, bruised me a lot and he hurt me so badly. So it was because the same problems, because I'm too gay, you're a faggot, I don't know, like, really, they are really harsh words. They leave mark deep in yourself and deep in your soul, and they get, like, hit on your self-esteem.
LGBT citizens in Lebanon are 4 times more likely to attempt suicide than their heterosexual peers, and Sasha knows that all too well.
I had a friend here in Lebanon. She was lesbian. I don't want to say her name or whatever, but she had a really, really rough experience. The guys actually raped her. So they said, like, why are you lesbian? You have like the feminine organ and you should like reproduce. And you know the mentality here in Lebanon, like a girl should like, her place is in the kitchen or wherever, and she should get married and have like 10 kids or whatever. So, and they like raped her, and she couldn't bear the idea of that. Like after 2 months, she like suicided. She killed herself, took her life by her own hands.
Sasha might look like she lives a normal life, but she still can't do basic things, like get married or even change her gender on official documents. Her passport still lists her as male, and going home doesn't make it any easier for her.
Around my house, I never overexpose myself. I put like sunglasses, I put my hair in a bun, I wear jackets, so no one knows that I am like the child of those parents. So I know that they may feel like embarrassed of me or something. It's like, but I try to hide myself as much as I can when I'm around the house or something. But when I'm out, I'm myself. I be myself, and I know that they can't accept me and whatever. But I can't do anything. I fight it a lot. I'm tired of fighting. I just want to live my life.
In the future, Sasha wants to leave her country, but if she were to come to the UK, would the Home Office actually grant her asylum? Would she have to answer weird questions to prove her sexuality? LGBT campaigners believe she should be able to find a safe haven in the UK without being pressured to fulfill unrealistic expectations of what it means to be gay. But things are starting to change. After loud criticism, Home Secretary Theresa May launched an investigation in 2014 into how sexuality asylum cases are being handled. The report concluded that further training is needed, but while the wheels of politics and policy turn, the system remains the same for now.
It's not a very nice system. It treats people like they're guilty until proven innocent, when, you know, if you're a British person, it's the other way around. You're innocent until proven guilty.